Well, how's it going, YouTube? Tonight we are working on this Toyota 2000 3.4 4Runner, and we got a P0300 and a P0305, which says it has a miss, basically random misfire, and it keeps saying it has a miss in cylinder number 5. I'm not sure what's going on. It could be plugs, wires, just don't know. But I just picked this up not long ago, got a really good deal on it. And really, it's the only thing I could find out that's really bad on the engine. And here is my little schematic. Lay this here, and you can see the firing order. It's 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. P0305 is going to be back here. It's going to be the cylinder back here, so we're going to have to look at these wires back here and see if we can find anything. We're probably going to have to take some of this plastic stuff off here, this air duct work, and get over there and start looking at that. Now I'm going to go inside here real quick, and I'm going to show you the code on my code reader. And I apologize, it might be just a little dark, but there it is. P0300. Random misfire. Then we have the P0305 cylinder 5 misfire detected. And I'm going to go ahead and start this up, and that's why I heard to listen to it. You can hear it missing. It's a little loud. It's got a hole in the exhaust I'm going to be replacing. So if you can get by that, you can hear the engine. You can probably hear the miss. All right, so we'll go back out here. I think you can hear it. Hear that there? It's not a steady miss. It's like an alternating miss. So I'm hoping that maybe it's a coil. I'm not really sure. So this is what we're going to do tonight. Alright, so I'm going to be working on this side, and if you have to do the same thing, do yourself a favor. Take your support out, stick it on this side, because it makes it a lot easier to work around over here. I hate bumping into these things. So over here we have the coil, which is right there. So I'm going to have to take out some of the stuff here and kind of take my time, because I don't want to break anything. Because you know, parts for Toyotas, especially the 4Runners, are kind of expensive. So when you get in here, I'm not sure if it's an injector, a wire, could be a broken wire, spark plug wire, we just don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and start tearing this apart and get into the back there. Alright, so we got this thing out of here. This was a little tough. A lot of times you can't use screwdrivers on things like this because they get so rusted up, they won't turn. So what I did, I got my little socket set out here and broke these loose. I actually had to put oil on that one, and then take a pair of vice grips and hold it and turn it, because you're just going to round that off. So this is out of the way, and you got a couple of hoses you got to disconnect, small ones, you know, kind of careful of that. Now here are our coils. What do you notice there? Well, I noticed someone's replaced this one, but not this one. And if there was a tag on it, it should still be there, but I think somebody has replaced these two, and they didn't want to do this. Maybe it was a week before payday, and they had to do what they had to do. I don't know. So here's cylinder number 5, and the injector is up here. The wire looks okay, so I'm kind of ruling out the injector, because it's getting fuel, because it's running. If the injector was bad, it probably wouldn't run at all. That's been my experience. But sometimes they can intermittent just shoot some fuel in there and cause you some problems, but we're going to rule that out until last. So I think right here's our problem. We either got a plug that's bad or a coil that's getting bad, and these are notorious for shorting out. So we'll go ahead and take this off here. I'm going to get a plug out of here and look at that plug and trace this wire all the way back over there and see if we see any cuts and breaks into it. Alright, so we just about got that out. I couldn't get the wire off. By the way, these little bolts that hold these coils down, 10 millimeter. I couldn't get this wire off. I don't want to break it, so I'm just going to pull it out together. And there's the wire, the plug, the coil. And there's the spark plug wire. Inspect that coil a little bit. Don't see anything too exciting here. So we'll pull the wire out. One trick you can always do is swap coils. So what we're going to do, we're going to swap this one here and this one. We're going to swap them around. Then we're going to run it and see if we still have a miss. And if it does miss and it throws a code again, then we'll know if it's a bad coil. Because if it's a bad coil, it will show up in this cylinder here as a PO. I can find my little list here. Let's see. Here we go. It'll come back as a P0301 because we have a P0305 right now. So this is part of doing process of elimination. So if it comes back still a 5, P0305, then we know we got a problem with a wire, a plug, or possibly a cylinder issue. Could be a compression issue, but what we'll do a compression check here in a little bit and see. So keep going here. Alright, so out comes our plug. It wasn't in there very tight, but that's okay. And always have a magnet. Magnets are your friends. I'm telling you, they are lifesavers. Pull this up out of here. May have to loosen it a little bit more. There we go. Now we'll grab it. Get it out of there. There we go. And let's see what we got. Spark plugs don't lie. Alright, well, she's a little dark. Not terribly dark. Let me just get it up here in the light a little bit better for you guys. Let's see what we got here. That's pretty normal. That's a good plug. It's firing. So, but look at the stuff on the side here. Oh, that doesn't look good. So I think what we're going to do now is going to do a compression check test and make sure we don't have a cylinder problem. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, now I've got it set up for a compression check test. I can't figure out where the fuel pump fuse is, so I'll deal with that later. So I unhooked a couple of wires and hopefully the engine won't start. I only need it to crank over a couple of times, so we're going to set that right there. And we're going to go in and see what kind of compression we get. This makes me nervous, so if it starts, I'll shut it right off really quickly. Kind of not the best way to do this, but I'm really anxious to see what the compression is in that cylinder. Alright, so let me go hit it and see what happens here. That's all we need. That's all I need. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Oh great. 150, just about 145, 150. So that's a good cylinder. So what a relief that is. So now we can go ahead and focus on that coil wire and see what's going on there. So this is how you kind of go through processes here and eliminate certain things. That way you can kind of figure out what's going on. Alright, so I've cleaned the plug back up. So what we're going to do is go ahead and put the plug back in there. And I don't know if you can see down that cylinder or not. Can you see there? I don't see nothing wrong. Got nothing down there that's wet or anything. I know Fords have a problem with getting moisture down in some of the cylinders and causing issues with misfiring. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this plug in and we're just going to go ahead and swap coils, clear the codes, and I want to see if it still misses, and if it does, see if we get a different code maybe on that cylinder there a bit. The thing that gets me here, and I think this is probably what's wrong, someone's replaced those two, but they didn't replace this one. So you know, they've probably had some problems with this coil before. The coil's on this 4Runner. So alright, so we'll go ahead and switch those around, and we'll come back here and see if we get any codes. Alright guys, you know that old saying, sometimes you just will never know. Well, maybe this is a story here also. We'll just never know. I switched the coils around, and would you know, started it up, It runs smooth as can be. So maybe that little bit of dirt that was on that plug, that grease, maybe it was causing the wire to short out. But let's start this thing up. I cannot believe how smooth this thing is. I should be able to reach my hand in here. Turn the key. Now, granted, it's a little loud because of the exhaust, but how smooth it is. I cannot believe how smooth it is. All I did was switch coils around. So in theory, if I had a bad coil, it should still be missing on the cylinder number 1 up here. So 5 and 1 is where I switched the coil around. There and there. But look at that. Smooth as can be. So a lot of times you just got to get in there and move things around, and sometimes you can take care of the problem. So what was the cause? I don't know. Sometimes there are things that happen to automobiles that we just don't know, and sometimes they just fix themselves. But more than likely it was something was shorting out. It was a coil or a wire. And by me moving it around, it just moved it far enough to keep it from shorting out from whatever it was shorting out on. So I really was hoping I'd find something bad, like a coil or a wire, but this wasn't the case this time. So running really good. Not missing a beat. All right, so that's the story. So if you have a miss, you know, just get in there and start looking around and look at the obvious. Let me shut it off. All right, so now you can hear me. Sometimes you just got to get in and look around, and by moving things, you can fix things. If that sounds a little strange, but a lot of times when you have shorts, you can fix it just by moving wires around. So that's great. This is running good now, so I guess I don't have to spend any money. So I spent about an hour out here tinkering around, but at least I know that cylinder had good compression. So we'll drive it a few days and see if that light comes back on, if I even get a miss. But it's not missing now, so. But if it does, I'll come back and let you guys know. So thanks for watching. Sorry I didn't have a cause, but the best thing to do is just dive in there and start doing what I did through process of elimination, and you'll find your problem and maybe share your story with me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Until my next video, I'll see you then.